You're listening to Big World Network.
Accidental Passion, Episode 1, Belize, read by Meagan Hedin. Warning! Although there is no material subject matter within that couldn't be found in any general bookstore with no age constraint, this series is rated 18 and contains adult situations and content. It is intended for mature audiences only and should not be read if you are uncomfortable with graphic sexual intimacy. Kim stepped out of the jet into the bright afternoon sunlight and looked around the Belize City airport, already feeling a sense of tropical paradise despite the generic look of the airport. The air was humid with the gentle breeze filled with the scent of seawater, something she hadn't experienced since meeting Rick in Florida, which seemed like an eternity ago. There were several palm trees, leaves gently swaying, and the attire of those she could see was definitely more relaxed and casual than Detroit. As the customs official approached the jet to examine their passports, Ryan hopped out of the jet to stand with her, sliding his hand on the small of her back. "It looks amazing here," Kim said, almost whispering. "We aren't at our destination yet," Ryan replied, smiling. "We're not? Where are we going?" she asked, surprised. Before he could answer, the customs agent approached them on a ramp and greeted Ryan. "Good afternoon, Mr. McCoy. Welcome back. I assume you are continuing to Ambergris Cay?" "Hi, Armando. We sure are." The agent looked at Kim. "You have beautiful company this time. Can I see your passport, ma'am?" he asked politely. As he examined and stamped their passports, a blue and white single-engine turboprop aircraft taxied onto the ramp. "There's your ride," Armando said loudly over the sound of the turbine engine just before it stopped about 20 feet from them. While the prop was still slowing, the door by the pilot popped open, and Kim was surprised to see a white male with bleached blonde hair and a tan, wearing flip-flops and a Corona t-shirt with board shorts, climb down the small leather steps. He looked to be about 25 and resembled every college stoner Kim had ever known. As Armando finished with their passports, he shook Ryan's hand, nodding politely at Kim, and waved to the young pilot walking towards them, before turning back to the terminal and retreating into the air-conditioned comfort of his office. The young pilot sauntered over to Kim and Ryan. "Hey, Ryan," he greeted. "Chaz, this is Kim," Ryan said, introducing the two. Kim smiled at the young man. "Hi." Chaz shook her hand and then began carrying their bags from the jet to the small turboprop aircraft. Kim looked at Ryan quizzically. As if reading her mind, he explained, "The runway on the island is too small for a jet, so the last little bit is on this prop aircraft which runs as a shuttle between the mainland and Ambergris Cay." "I take it you come here a lot?" Kim asked. "Whenever I can. I do a lot of my writing right on the beach. My house sits right on the eastern shore." "Your house?" Kim exclaimed. "You're a man of many surprises." "This is my escape. I have been coming down here for over a decade, and I never grow tired of the scenery, the climate, or the people." Chaz finished putting the last few bags in the airplane and walked back over to them. "We ready?" Ryan asked. Within minutes, Kim found herself sitting by the window in the small airplane, holding Ryan's hand and looking down at the beautiful turquoise water below them. It was like nothing she had seen before, aside from pictures and movies, and she found it mesmerizing. Leaning closer to her and talking over the volume of the noisy turboprop, Ryan spoke. "Some of the best diving in the world is right here. There's beautiful coral and amazing sea life, and the water is so brilliant and clear." "It's amazing," Kim replied, squeezing his hand. The flight seemed to last only minutes to her, and she soon felt the airplane begin descending, but saw no land below them yet. Looking forward at Chaz flying the aircraft with the same relaxed, laid-back demeanor he had on the ground, Kim spoke into Ryan's ears. "Is it hard for you to give up control flying and sit in the back?" Ryan smiled. "Normally I sit up front with Chaz, but I didn't want to leave you alone back here." He kissed her gently on her cheek before continuing. "But he is a damn good pilot and learned to fly in Detroit. I actually got him this job." The aircraft now seemed to be just feet off the water, and Kim could see the sandy bottom below the sparkling surface. She was actually becoming a little nervous, but forced herself to relax since Ryan showed no concern. Within moments, she was able to see the shore of the island ahead of them, and could make out lots of green and some colorful rooftops. The airplane crossed over a marshy-looking area, followed by a smooth touchdown on the runway. As Chaz brought the propeller into reverse to slow the high-wing turboprop down, Kim peered out the window trying to get as much of a first look as she could of the island. As the plane slowed to a taxi speed and made its way to a small building, Ryan explained, "The island is Ambergris Caye, and the main town on the island is San Pedro. They speak primarily English here, since it used to be a British colony. You'll never meet more wonderful people than you will here." Then he added, "It's a far cry from Detroit." Kim laughed. If Chaz proves to be a typical sample of the laid-back culture, it most definitely is a far cry from Detroit. As they parked and the engine whined to a stop, Chaz opened the door. Kim could immediately feel the humid warmth on her face and smell the wonderful salt air. As she climbed out with Ryan, she watched as Chaz walked to the side of the building, hopped in a golf cart, and pulled it up to the rear of the plane by the baggage compartment to begin unloading their bags onto the back. "I like our ride," Kim laughed. "There are very few cars on the island." "This is the desired mode of transportation," Ryan replied. "It's actually a great way to get around, and the streets are never noisy or crowded with cars." After finishing with the bags, Chaz closed up the cargo door and made his way back to the front of the airplane to climb in. He turned back to them as he stepped up onto the ladder to the cockpit. "Enjoy your stay." "Will you and Sarah join us for dinner tonight at my place?" Ryan asked. "Sure. It will give me a chance to catch up on life in Detroit and remind me why I love it here so much," Chaz replied, waving as he climbed onto the seat. "7-ish?" "That's perfect," Ryan said, waving back at him as he closed the door. They climbed onto the golf cart and, as they pulled away, Kim could hear the whine of the turbine engine starting, as Chaz was presumably flying back to the mainland for another trip. She enjoyed the ride as Ryan expertly navigated the streets in the cart. It was refreshing that every cart that passed them going the opposite direction would result in a friendly wave from the driver and passengers. The town and island appeared to be very different from most resort islands. Although there were a few larger resorts according to Ryan, it was still relatively undiscovered by tourists except for divers and wasn't particularly modern. But that left it with a wonderful charm and a friendly, relaxed feel. There were tiny restaurants and bars lining the main streets, and plenty of small shops selling their wares. All but a very few of the roads were still dirt, and the downtown area was filled with golf carts and people on foot. Many of the store signs were hand-painted instead of the modern neon and lighted signs. As they drove by one particular bay, Ryan explained that the locals favored the establishment because of a chicken bingo game they played. The patrons would place a bet on which lettered square a chicken would poop on, and the winner would take the winnings. "Sounds exciting," Kim laughed. "It really is." Ryan turned down another street heading towards the eastern shore. "You would be surprised how exciting it is getting caught up in the betting and watching the chicken cluck around, everyone yelling, hoping it will leave its droppings on their letter. I'll take you this week." He winked at her. She had no doubt that he was totally serious, and she was becoming more and more attracted to his fun, childlike nature. The houses began to grow in size and become more sparsely separated as they made their way farther from the downtown area. "Are there a lot of Americans living here?" Kim asked as they passed a group of children walking home from school in blue and white uniforms. "There are a fair amount of expats living here, or retiring here since it is still somewhat undiscovered, and it is significantly cheaper than many other islands like the Caymans." As he finished, Ryan let off the gas on the cart and turned sharply into a driveway. Kim's breath was taken away. The house was a large white ranch with incredible landscaping and palm trees giving a fair amount of shade. They stopped in front, and as they climbed off the cart, an older black man, native to the island, came out the front door and greeted them before gathering their luggage. Kim leaned in and whispered kiddingly to Ryan, "A manservant, really?" Ryan chuckled. "Marcus has been with me since I first started coming here. He lives in the guest house and takes care of the place when I'm not around. And yes, a manservant. A true necessity in life," he joked. If Kim had been impressed by the outside, the inside was even more overwhelming. It was simple, but large and open with comfortable wicker furniture and tile floors throughout, and the bathrooms were amazing, with large sunken tubs and marble-tiled showers with clear glass wall and door. The master bedroom had both an indoor and an outdoor shower in a private exterior-walled room. The entire outside wall of the bedroom was glass and had an incredible view overlooking an infinity pool that ended in a view with the beautiful ocean. Along one side of the beach was a dock with a small boat tied to it and a few covered seating areas, as well as a hammock tied between two posts. Kim turned to Ryan as they looked out through the sliding glass wall in the bedroom. "I love it here." Ryan rested his hands on the sides of her arms and looked down into her eyes. It's even more special for me being here now. I knew something had been missing all those years when I visited. He leaned in and kissed her passionately on the lips.
This has been a presentation of Big World Network. Visit us on bigworldnetwork.com for more free weekly series, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Big World Network.